Started.
So engines. How many people here know how to build an engine? You know how they work? Okay, good. The rest of you, here's how they work. Engine is a very, very simple mechanical device. It's got a lot of extra metal around it, but the basic principle is really simple. You have what's called a piston and a piston rod attached to something round, and it's in a cylinder. When the piston gets pushed down, it translates that lateral motion into circular motion. Pretty darn simple concept. You see these on the side of steam trains and things like that, but there is also a bunch of them inside of your car. It's a little more complicated than that though. You drill a hole in the top, you put a little cork in it, and you attach that to some tubing, and you squirt fuel in there. Fuel is a mixture of air and gasoline. Then you drill another hole on the other side of it, put a cork in that, attach some tubing to it, and you let that go out the exhaust, like out the back of the car. Then you also drill another hole, and you attach a spark plug to it, which is something that sparks when you tell it to spark. So the way the whole system works is very simple. You squirt fuel in. Sorry, I just passed puberty. You squirt fuel in. It pushes the piston down, or the piston is pulling the fuel in, I should say. And then you close that little cork, and you squeeze the fuel and the air as compressed as you can. And right when it gets to the top, you light that spark, which causes it to explode. You actually have explosions happening in your engine very rapidly, lots and lots and lots of them. It's a very controlled explosion. And that explosion expands, forcing the piston down really, really hard. If you tried to stop that with your hand, it would be bad. When it gets to the bottom and expands all the way out, it converts back in, the force is gone because it's exerted all that force in pushing the piston down, and it converts into basically smoke. We open the other cork on the other side, and as it comes around, we let the smoke get squirted out the other hole. So these have names. This is why it's called a four-stroke motor, because there's 4 strokes. The first stroke is the intake stroke, where it actually sucks fuel in. Then the compression stroke is where it squishes the fuel. The ignition moment is at the in between the first and second stroke. And then you have the power stroke, which is the actual one of the 4 strokes that is causing all the force in your engine. And then there's the exhaust stroke, where it squirts the exhaust back out of the hole. Now these different parts in an engine, this looks a heck of a lot more complicated than that. They're really pretty simple. If you look at, there we go, the piston itself are these things inside of an engine. There's usually 4, 6, 8 of them in different configurations, but it's just this little dude sitting inside the cylinder, which is the edge, little metal tube that it sits inside. And then the round part, or the flywheel, is at the bottom of these rods, and there's a whole bunch of them, and they just crank around in a circle like that as they all work together. And the valves, as I was calling torques before, are these little things that are on springs, and these are in a round hole, and it's got a little lip, and it pushes down, letting the fuel or exhaust go around the edge of that little lip back out, or in. And then the intake side of the engine is over here in the carburetors. That mixes the fuel and the air together in a box and squirts it into the motor. And on the other side is the exhaust. It's kind of funky looking here, but down in the corner you can see that's the thing that comes out of the back of the car with all the stinky stuff. And then the spark plug, you've probably seen a picture of a spark plug. If you look on top of your motor, all those wires are connected to spark plugs for each one of your cylinders. And that's basically it. That's how simple engines are.